Final game, Monday night, Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. Right now, 3.5 or 4. There's 1 3.5 in favor of the Rams. The rest 4 across the board in favor of the Rams. Arizona Cardinals, have struggled mightily down the stretch here. Total of 49.5 in this game, fellas. We thought we were going to get DeAndre Hopkins back. We are not going to get DeAndre Hopkins back. And what this does, and if you were in our Discord chat earlier this week, I put this stat in there, and it's incredible. With DeAndre Hopkins on the field this year, Arizona is first in yards per attempt and has the 3rd best EPA per play in the NFL. Without DeAndre Hopkins on the field, they are 16th in yards per attempt and 24th in EPA per play. And here's the thing. It's one of those deals where you look and you're going like, that didn't make any sense. DeAndre Hopkins' stats weren't all that great when he was out there. He wasn't lighting the world on fire and all that. But Brad, we talk about this with specific players from time to time here on the pod. The thing is when DeAndre Hopkins is out there, you have to account for DeAndre Hopkins being out on the field. And so, yes, his counting statistics might not have been all that eye-popping, but you can see that the success rate of this offense was incredibly high because you do have to pay so much attention to DeAndre Hopkins that it frees up all of these other guys and allows Kyler Murray to not only hit more open receivers, but he can do what he wants to with his legs and all the different things like that. And so not having him out there is really, really big for this team. I mean, just to let you know, since Kyler Murray came back from that injury in week 13, they are 15th in offensive EPA overall and 23rd in defensive EPA as well. And so like this defense has played not great down the stretch. This offense has played not great down the stretch. But you've also got a Rams team that has kind of gotten by the skin of their teeth and limped into some stuff. And then, of course, blew the big lead last week as well.
I mean, to your point on DeAndre Hopkins, like the way the Cardinal system works is they just plug in Antoine Wesley instead of Hopkins. So, it's going to be a downgrade. And you see it in the red zone as well. I think they've dropped from like a 62% touchdown rate to 44%. So maybe there's also some noise in there, that maybe that improves going forward, but whatever way you look at it, it is a drop off. But to your point, you're just saying there that the Arizona's, I've got them 14th in EPA since week 9, so second half of the season. I've got the Rams 15th in EPA on offense, with a worse success rate as well. So both of these teams exploded out the blocks. I think they're both 7-1 or so, and they both just dropped off dramatically to be basically average in the second half of the season. So to me, it looks like getting the 4 is going to be valuable. Like, all season long, Arizona basically shown they don't seem to have a home field advantage. It's, especially in division, it's going to be a half point, 1 point at max. And with basically even offenses, I would say Kyler is still the quarterback I would rather have here. So 4 points here with the better quarterback, to me, looks like a take.
So an interesting deal here, Brett, will be if the Cardinals try to blitz Stafford, because the one thing that he did do well this year was he had the highest passer rating against the blitz amongst all quarterbacks. And actually he had the highest passer rating against the blitz in the next gen stats era. So he of all time, since they've been doing, kind of tracking that in the next gen stats era. That being said, he was under pressure more this year when he wasn't blitzed than when he was blitzed. So it's another one of those things, because he knows how to get the ball out quickly when he sees the blitz is coming, all the different stuff like that. And so he was under pressure 23.1% of the time when he was not blitzed, compared to 18.2% of the time when he was blitzed. And 16 of his 17 interceptions came when the teams were not blitzing him. So again, like Stafford's one of those guys that it's almost like if you force him to make a decision, he's better than if you give him time to sit back there and try to have to read a defense and do the things like that. So I almost feel like this whole JJ Watt thing about them saying that he might play and might be able to get back in there and get some snaps could really and truly work hugely in the Cardinals' favor, not only because it's JJ Watt, but if JJ Watt can get in there and just cause any sort of pressure and have it to where they don't have to blitz at all, then that really works in favor of this Cardinals defense as well.
That is a fascinating stat. I never would have guessed that Stafford was the best under pressure, just given what we've seen him do this year. He's been awful at times. This is the most difficult cap for me this week because I don't know what either of these teams are. Like neither have shown any consistency the second half of the season. Like you said, the Cardinals offense has been in decline without DeAndre Hopkins. And the Rams offense has been lackluster mostly because Stafford isn't playing smart. He's trying to do too much. We knew Stafford was a risk taker when he was with Detroit. He had to be.
Right.
You don't have to be with this team. Like in this system with these players, just make smart decisions, and he's just not doing that. So, I mean, at this point, you can almost bake in one bonehead interception that he's going to throw in a football game. It's like Brad is right. The Rams have been average for the second half of this year, but my brain can't process how a team this talented is average. So I don't know what to do with the Rams. I'm lost with this game. I don't know what to do. I think Cardinals, anything north of 3 is probably the right play. But at the same time, the ceiling of the Rams is so high that it's hard for me not to jump on them at 3.5 still, because I don't believe in the Cardinals either. So I don't know. Maybe you guys tell me what to do with this game, because I honestly have no idea.
I weirdly have a lean towards the over, and that's so weird considering I'm sitting here talking about how both of these teams haven't played that great on offense or whatever, but both these teams play super fast. They're in the top 6 or 7 in the league as far as neutral pace. Both of these teams, again, when at the peak, right? I mean, when the Rams offense is working and the Cardinals offense is working, they move up and down the field like without any problem. And so I have a slight lean to the over in this thing, but it's not in the account. I'm also like you that if I had to be forced into a bet here, probably taking the points with the Cardinals just because it's more than a field goal would be the way to go, would be the way that I'd be leaning. But I don't have a ton of conviction here, guys. I don't think any of us have really a ton of conviction here in this one, just given the circumstances and given, what we've seen from these two teams over the past couple of weeks. I mean, I can tell you this. I understand how fantastic Cooper Kupp has been. His receiving prop is at 105.5 yards. That's just astronomical and absurd. So, I mean, 105.5, I think you could only play the under strictly just based off the number being so astronomical where it is right now. But Brad, I mean, okay, you had to bet this game this week. You had to play it. The line is 4. Are you laying it or are you taking the points?
I have taken the points, and one thing I forgot to mention that I think is pretty key here is the Rams safeties. Jordan Fuller, the green dot, so that, the play caller for the defense, he's out. Taylor Rapp, the other safety, is in the concussion protocol at the minute. I mean, they were signing Eric Weddle off the street. Sorry, we talk a lot about the teams tell you a little bit how they feel. Well, they've signing a guy who hasn't played football for 2 years. It tells me they're a little bit worried about their safety position, and especially the play caller. I think they were talking about giving the green dot to Jalen Ramsey, but you get one coverage bust and it's 6 points. Like that's a huge edge on the spread. So yeah, I mean, I think probably Cardinals money line. Like there's, I feel like it's a volatile game. I think as Brett said, we don't really know who these teams are, and it would not surprise me at all to see the Cardinals win this game. So if you're getting plus 180 or go lay minus 2.5 for the Cardinals, get plus 190 or something. I think that's a solid bet.
Very interesting week, very interesting games. I mean, listen, there's all kinds of narratives and storylines and things like that. Guys, again, do watch and check out before, if you're hesitant at all, do watch, see what that weather is going to do there in Tampa with that Bucks and Eagles game. That might be a huge factor in all of this. So if you're at all worried about that, be sure and hold out and take a look at that. Again, it's going to be cold in Cincy. It's going to be cold in Buffalo. Doesn't look like there's going to be wind. If anything changes, we'll be sure and put it in our Discord. We'll be sure and put it in the comment section of the videos as well and things like that. But doesn't look like that it's going to be much more than just guys out there freezing their asses off. And so there's going to be really uncomfortable is basically all it's going to come down to. Brett, great to have you back for episode 200 here. Hopefully we'll have you for many more as we make our way to 300 as well. And Brad, if you want to follow him over on Twitter at Brad Allen NFL, you want to follow Brett Colson. I mean, you can, he tweets like once every, 6 months, but you can follow him at Brett Colson. If you want to follow me at Matt Brown M2. For Brad, for Brett, I'm Matt. Good luck on all your Super Wildcard Weekend bets.